what starts happening is that within the space, there is a new age of who's winning the competitive landscape, right?
Yeah.
And those who are winning this are not the scale-driven incumbents, but it's really the insurgents, right? The insurgents are those who are subscale, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And they start winning the share game, they start winning the innovation game, and they are still eating the lunch of the global scale companies.
Yeah.
And this is happening in the financial sector, in the travel sector, especially in the CPG sector, where I live and make my analytics bread, if you may. So here's the wonderful thing about that. And when you think about how these subscale companies are winning, it is primarily because they're pushing decisioning and leadership to the fractals. Now, remember what I said, a fractal is something where you have infinite sides. So think about it, infinite leadership teams with infinite decision-making capability, but the organization size or the area is still finite. So they've pushed this ability to make decisions to the edges where the real competitive landscape is happening and where the real winning is taking place. So does that make sense? So when you think of it, and I'll post a link to an article in the chat box for everybody to look at it. But BCG basically wrote an article that I think explains this really well, right? With constructs and flows and stuff like that. The one thing, and then I'll stop now because I'd love to get Wendy and your perspective in here. But the one thing that really caught my attention in all this was that they're calling this, the article calls this the fractal advantage, or the new source of strength of why these subscale, incumbents are winning. Subscale new entrants are winning versus the incumbents, is because of what they call the fractal advantage. And we at Rejuvi, and you can see me shaking my legs and getting excited, we at Rejuvi have so much to say about this, because this is what we've been talking. We might not have used the term fractal, but this is exactly what we've been talking about, right? In terms of leadership and where leadership development needs to happen and how you tie it to the business. Anyways, I'm gonna pause. Otherwise, I'll keep going.
I can see your left leg shaking. So I think my first response is that the word fractal does not come easy to me. It's not a word that I use in my language every day, and so I do believe that there's another link that is going to be posted in the chat box, and it's this great piece that MIT put out on what's a fractal, and it's fantastic. Yeah. And the analogy that they use is the snowflake, and it's exactly what Vid talked about, is that the area of the snowflake, of a fractal never gets bigger, but the perimeter, right? The measurement of the perimeter is infinite. And they show you how that can get done. And that to me was such a visual for why this article called The Organization of the Future is Fractal. I'm going to show you, in my paper, right? This little thing right here. It was why it was so powerful when I could lock in that visual of what a fractal really is. And there's this sentence that just popped out for me. And this is the sentence. It says, scaling the core, a formula developed for a stable, integrated, global-sized economy that is rapidly fragmenting, has given way. It has given way to innovation, speed, and responsiveness at the edge. So what I start thinking about is, I start thinking about these words called, innovation, speed, and responsiveness. In many ways, we have talked about that as the growth triple threat, that when your organization has those things, that they have the metrics that they measure, and especially growth, are far exceed those who do not have those things. And in fact, we know that 93% of organizations today do not believe that they are ready to go with innovation, speed, and responsiveness.
That's right.
And so, I think about old leadership, right? And Rejuvi's all about modern leadership. And I think about old leadership. And I think that so many of the old leadership models were about serving that core. And we used words like, cascade the vision to the teams, Make sure you cascade vision, mission, and values to everyone so they can be engaged in that. And the point is that that's not going to work anymore, because now we know that where the innovation, the speed, and the responsiveness is actually happening is in these dispersed teams on the perimeter. These teams led by team leaders, these teams led by service leaders, these teams led by sales leaders. And we have to find a way to not cascade the vision, mission, and values of the organization. We have to find a way to deliver leadership, capability, and capacity to those teams who are trying to make it happen for their organizations. Do you know what I mean? That's exactly what the challenge is here, and why we double down